In this Diablo 2 Resurrected Paladin build guide, we're going to be covering the Engulfed in Flames Paladin. This is a beginner build that will comfortably get you through normal, which is the first difficulty of Diablo 2 Resurrected. If you're looking for a beginner paladin build and aren't sure where to begin, then this guide is for you. The Engulfed in Flames Paladin focuses on the Holy Fire offensive aura, which does periodic fire damage to all enemies around you and adds fire damage to your melee attacks. We will also be using the Zeal Combat Skill, which allows us to quickly attack multiple enemies. Combining Zeal with Holy Fire allows us to deliver very fast melee attacks that are enhanced with fire damage and melt through most enemies early on in Diablo 2 Resurrected. When fighting against large groups of enemies, the AoE damage will deal with weaker enemies, while you use Zeal to take down the bigger threats. The Holy Fire skill is unlocked at level 6, allowing you to start putting together the Engulfed in Flames Paladin build very shortly after you begin Diablo 2 Resurrected. And one of the best things about this build is that most of your damage comes from the Holy Fire skill, meaning that you won't be dependent on equipment, which can be very limiting for a new player. It is important to note that while very powerful during the beginning of the game, this build will only remain viable through the first difficulty, normal, and up to around level 40. You can still run through Nightmare difficulty if you insist, but I wouldn't recommend it as you'll find much better options at this point in the game. If you're a new player, I strongly recommend you save the respec that you get from completing the first mission, Den of Evil. If you do, you'll be able to talk to Akara and respec your character into a different build once you reach Nightmare difficulty. Most builds in Diablo 2 Resurrected have a stat distribution that focuses on assigning enough points into strength to meet equipment requirements, enough dexterity to reach max block chance, and then assigning everything else into vitality to gain as much life as possible. And while this is true for most builds, it can be confusing to decide when you should assign these attribute points. Strength is a requirement for most equipment pieces of the game. During your first playthrough, you want to have enough points to slot the best equipment for each act. 35 strength for Act 1, 45 for Act 2, and 60 strength through the rest of Acts 3 through 5. From here, you should only assign points into strength if you find an item that is worth investment. If not, just assign the points into vitality. For most builds, dexterity is important to increase block chance when using a shield. Though block chance is not that important at the beginning of the game, dexterity also increases our attack rating, which is essentially our chance to hit enemies. Since this is a melee build, we'll need to spend at least a few points here to make sure our attacks don't miss. Boosting dexterity to 35 as soon as we can will be enough for this build, and we'll be getting attack rating from our items later on. All remaining points should be spent in vitality. Increasing vitality will greatly increase your life pool, which is essential to stay alive against large groups of enemies. Vitality also increases your stamina, allowing you to run much further without needing to rest. No points are required in energy. This build uses very little mana, so you won't have any issues here. The Engulfed in Flames Paladin is designed around two skills, which are the Holy Fire Offensive Aura and the Zeal Combat Skill. The Holy Fire Offensive Aura periodically deals fire damage to all enemies around us and also adds flat fire damage bonus to our melee attacks. The AoE is very useful against large packs of enemies, while the flat fire damage allows us to deal with individual targets. Paladin auras must be selected in order to be active, so you want to have this active on your secondary slot at all times when fighting enemies if you're using mouse and keyboard. The Zeal Combat Skill allows you to quickly perform multiple strikes with increased damage and attack rating, meaning they are more likely to hit enemies on each blow. If you're facing multiple enemies, you'll hit each of them one time, and while facing a single enemy, all blows will land on the same target. Using the skill will make the Paladin attack much faster than normal, greatly increasing our damage output. The amount of strikes will start at 2 and increase by 1 for each point we assign into Zeal for a maximum of 5 hits. This is an uninterrupted skill, meaning that once we use it, we will have to wait until it finishes to be able to run or perform any other action, even if we already killed our enemies. For this reason, it's important that we only assign 1 point into Zeal, as attacking many times may be counterproductive. This might be because we are surrounded by enemies and need to escape, or because we can constantly be stuck attacking air because enemies are dying with only 1 or 2 hits. You can go for a 5-hit Zeal build if you like, but I strongly recommend you stick with 2 strikes and simply cast it as many times as you need. For the skill distribution, we'll want to max our Holy Fire skill and then unlock Zeal as soon as we can. Once we max Holy Fire, we can further increase its damage by assigning points into the Resist Fire skill and unlock the Salvation skill for some extra defense. The following is a comprehensive guide on how to assign your stats early on. Level 2, 1 point in Might Offensive Aura. This is a prerequisite for the Holy Fire skill, and you should use it up to level 6. Level 3, 1 point into the Sacrifice Combat skill. This is a prerequisite for Zeal, and you can use it early on to attack enemies, but make sure to carry many health potions as you'll damage yourself each time you use it. Levels 4, 5, and the Den of Evil extra skill point for 3 points in total into the Resist Fire Defensive Aura. This skill acts as a synergy for Holy Fire, providing plus 18% fire damage for each point assigned. Since we can't assign points into Holy Fire yet, we'll assign them here so our Holy Fire is stronger as soon as we unlock it. From level 6 to 11, you'll spend 6 points in Holy Fire, which will be our main offensive aura, and you'll want to start using it as soon as you unlock it. At level 12, you'll want to spend 1 point in Zeal, and map it as your default attack skill, which is the left click on your mouse. As previously mentioned, I recommend to only assign 1 point here to be able to control the amount of attacks. From level 12 onward, you'll want to max out the Holy Fire skill, and once Holy Fire skill is at level 20, you'll want to go for Resist Fire and Salvation. As previously mentioned, the Resist Fire skill synergizes with Holy Fire, and because we won't be able to increase Holy Fire above level 20, assigning points into Resist Fire will passively increase Holy Fire's damage. The Salvation defensive aura has no prerequisites, so you'll only need 1 skill point to unlock it. Salvation provides a huge boost to all elemental resistances, which can be great to get past specific areas with annoying elemental monsters such as Chaos Sanctuary. Remember that you'll need to have the aura equipped to be active, so you'll lose the Holy Fire damage while you're using Salvation, meaning it'll take you much longer to kill enemies. Salvation also synergizes with Holy Fire, providing plus 6% fire damage per level, so you'll also get a small boost of damage here. Since we're relying on our skills to increase our damage, we'll want to use our equipment to increase our survival chances. Elemental resistances are key when trying to survive in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Many enemies deal elemental damage, and having high resistances will mitigate a great percentage of this damage. For this reason, I strongly recommend that you focus on equipment pieces that provide plus resistances during the normal difficulty of the game. You can check your current resistances by opening the stat menu and looking at the bottom of the menu. Resistances cap at plus 75%, and ideally you want to max out all of them when you are reaching the end of normal difficulty. Make sure to periodically check your equipment and balance them out to get them as high as possible. Runes are a special type of socketed item that will not only provide unique properties, but that can also be combined with other runes to create what's called a rune word. Rune words can be formed by inserting runes in a specific order inside certain types of equipment. The item must be normal rarity, able to support the rune word, and it needs to have the same amount of sockets as runes are required. Note that some magical items have sockets on them, but even if you put the runes in the right order, the rune word will not be created and you'll essentially lose your runes, so be sure to use normal rarity items only. While rune words are often referred to as endgame equipment, some of them can be crafted very early in Diablo 2 Resurrected and should not be too hard to come by. If you're lacking a base, you can check the merchants as they often sell socketed items, but make sure that they are normal in rarity. Rune words are the most reliable way to gear up your character while you advance through the game, so I strongly suggest that you take a look at the complete list on our wiki and periodically check runes that you have and the rune words that you can craft. Runes can be farmed by doing Countess runs. The Countess is a super unique monster that can be found inside the Forgotten Tower in Act 1. Each time you kill her, she will always drop between 1 and 3 runes, and their level will depend on the difficulty setting. Since loot is random, you won't have control over the equipment that you get during early and even mid-stage gameplay other than creating rune words. Having said that, there are some general guidelines on the stats that you should be looking for on your items to make sure that your character scales up with increasing difficulty. Nadir Rune Word, Nef Tier Runes, level 13. This helmet provides a good amount of defense as well as plus 2 mana after each kill, allowing us to keep spamming Zeal. Lore Rune Word, Ort Soul Runes, level 27. If you happen to come across a soul rune, then you can use it to craft this helmet, which provides plus 1 to all skills, as well as plus 30% lightning resistance. Bear in mind that plus 1 to all skills will mean plus 1 to hit on your Zeal attack. Steel Rune Word, Tier L Runes, level 13. This is the easiest rune word weapon you can craft early on, as the runes are very easy to come by. Steel greatly increases our attack damage, attack rating, and attack speed, making it perfect for our build. It also provides plus 2 to mana after each kill, allowing us to freely spam Zeal without having to worry about mana. Spirit Rune Word, Tal Thol Ort Am Runes, level 25. This rune can be crafted on both weapons and shields. It increases both our damage, thanks to its plus 2 to all skills and fixed elemental damage stats, as well as increases to our defenses, thanks to the faster hit recovery, vitality, and life stolen per hit. Finding a 4-socketed weapon can be a little tricky, but stay on the lookout for crystal swords, long swords, and broadswords. If you happen to play the secret cow level, if you find any unsocketed of these types of weapons, you can get a guaranteed 4 sockets from Larzuk by completing the Siege of Haragoth quest. Scepters are a Paladin exclusive weapon that usually come with plus Paladin skills on them. If you come across one that provides plus Holy Fire and good stats, then it's a perfect fit for this build. Ancient's Pledge Rune Word, Ral Ort Tal Runes, level 21. This shield provides a huge boost to resistances. If you can't find an Ort rune, you can make one by combining 3 Ral runes inside the Hradra cube. Spirit Rune Word, Thal Thol Ort Am Runes, level 25. If you find the runes in a 4-slot shield, then Spirit is a great option as well. This shield provides +2 to all skills, greatly increasing our damage, and provides many defensive stats such as elemental resistances, plus 55% faster hit recovery, and vitality. Stealth Runeword, Tal Eth Runes, level 17. This is by far the best armor that you can get early game. It allows you to move faster through the map, provides poison resistance and faster hit recovery, which allows you to recover control of your character sooner after each hit. The FHR is very important as it usually helps you avoid stun locks when surrounded by enemies. When it comes to gloves, you want to focus on defensive stats such as life and resistances. Some gloves also provide plus increased attack speed, which are great for this build as well. Make sure to swap your belt as soon as you reach Act 2 for the maximum amount of potions. Regarding stats, you want to focus on life and resistances. Some merchants might offer magical belts with a lot of life on them, which are a great option. You'll want to search for faster run and walk speed on your boots as well as resistances and life. Run and walk speed is important to quickly navigate through the map, so make sure to get it. Rings can provide you with a lot of attack rating as well as min and max damage. Other than that, you'll want to focus on resistances. Similar to the rest of the equipment, you'll want to focus on life and resistances for your amulet. You'll find many charms as you advance through the game. While having these in your inventory is great, they can easily occupy a lot of space, limiting the amount of loot you can pick up. Try to focus on plus life, plus resistances, and plus damage, as these are the most important ones for your build. Act 2 Mercenaries are the best choice for all builds due to their paladin auras and the ability to equip polearm weapons. Being able to use polearms is very important because many powerful runewords can be created on them, providing various buffs or debuffing enemies. You can recruit this mercenary from Grease and Loot Gulaim. When it comes to selecting an aura, you'll want to select the Prayer Mercenary found on normal difficulty. The Prayer aura provides heal regeneration, allowing you to survive longer without using potions. Once you reach Nightmare difficulty, you can hire a Holy Freeze Aura Mercenary, which slows enemies around you, providing great crowd control. You won't have a lot of spare equipment during the beginning of Diablo 2 Resurrected, but your mercenary will also get the effect of the Holy Fire skill, allowing him to hit very hard. You can equip him with any extra equipment you have or buy him a polearm from a merchant. If you happen to have some spare runes, make sure to craft an Insight runeword on his polearm, as this weapon will greatly increase your mercenary's combat capabilities. Final tips. Doing a couple of Countess runs will give you a lot of runes that will not only be useful for this build, but for any other character that you might make. Make sure to save all your runes that you find inside your stash. If you are having trouble finding a base for your runewords, make sure to periodically check on merchants, as they usually have good ones. If you happen to find a good unique or set item that you like, don't hesitate to swap it with your current gear. I excluded all unique and set items from this guide because there's no reliable way of acquiring them early on. I personally like to run my belt with full healing potions on all columns, but you can also add antidote potions or thawing potions. Using these potions will not only cure their respective status effects, but also provide a plus 50 resistance to their corresponding elemental resistance. Your mercenary gets the full effect of the Holy Fire aura, allowing him to hit really hard, so make sure to keep him alive by using potions on him. To do this, press and hold shift and then right click on the potion you wish to use. If you're using controller, hold down the left trigger and then press the appropriate button on the D-pad. Stay tuned for more Diablo 2 build guides, and be sure to check out our Diablo 2 Resurrected wiki for more information about the game. What did you guys think of our Beginner Paladin build guide? What class are you guys playing? What build would you like to see next? Let us know in the comments below.